Do you ever just feel that life is just beating you down? You're constantly dealing with challenges, adversity, and it's just causing all these struggles to happen in your own life. Whether that's stress, anxiety, worry, doubt, fear, even depression. Well, if that sounds anything like you, pay close attention. Because in this video, I want to break down a simple exercise that you can do and within a matter of minutes, relieve yourself of all the stress, of all the worry, of all the doubt, and all the fear and anxiety. Kid you not. It works 100% of the time. Now, in case you guys are brand new to my YouTube channel, welcome. My name is Joe Callari. I'm the head coach and founder of Heartletics. And inside of our coaching program is where we help guys lose fat and build muscle specifically for their body types, their busy lifestyles, and their schedules. So that way they can learn all the right tools on what works best for them. And that way they can have success at reaching their goals, but maintain that success long term. I'm sure you heard the phrase, you can either give a man a fish, feed him for a day, or teach a man how to fish and feed him for the rest of his life. That's what we focus on. And if you need any help at all when it comes to you becoming the best version of yourself, physically and mentally, well, hey, I have 2 resource links if you click on the link down below if you're watching this on YouTube. The first one is a free fat loss guide. It's literally a step-by-step blueprint, how to lose anywhere from 20 to 50 pounds of fat all within the next 90 days. Workouts, nutrition plans, everything like that is included in the guide. And the second link is actually to schedule a free strategy session talking with either myself or somebody from our team. Just going over a little bit more details about your own health and fitness journey, what you should do, what you shouldn't be focusing on, right? Just kind of take out all the guesswork for you and kind of help you out in the fastest approach. So once again, you got 2 resources. Now, with that being said, let's dive into maybe why you're here. Because there's something on your plate. And maybe it is causing just stress, maybe it's causing fear, maybe it's causing worry, doubt, anxiety, something, right? And maybe you've tried other techniques, maybe you've tried other methods where it's just like it helps you out for a short period of time, but doesn't give you exactly what I like to say is laser targeted focus, right? And here's the thing, whatever you're focusing on, you're putting more energy towards. So if you're focusing more on the stress, more on the anxiety, more on the worry, the doubt, the fear, the challenge, you're only making it bigger. You're literally empowering it. You're giving it energy. So what I like to do is this short little exercise that always helps, and you shift your focus now, right, to a solution, now to something that matters more, now to something that's empowering. And before we dive in this exercise, you got to understand this, okay? There's what's called a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system within your body, right? Another way that you can look at it is like flight versus fight, right? So somebody can either run, right, or somebody could stand there and fight. You can either sink or you can either swim. So when it comes down to our parasympathetic nervous system and our sympathetic nervous system, okay, parasympathetic nervous system simply means, hey, we're at rest. We're calm, right? We're not worried about the anxiety. We're not worried about the challenge. And when you're at a place of just calmness, you're able to make better rational decisions. I mean, think about it. If let's just say you're somebody that is, this used to be me all the time because I'm horrible at math, horrible at school. So growing up, I was bad, right? Plain and simple in school. And I would have to go to Sylvan Learning Center. And I remember like math class for me was the hardest subject ever. It was like a different language, and it still kind of is. But I just remember that, hey, anytime I'm taking down a test and I'm like literally hearing people like scribble and they're going through the assignment or they're going through the test and I hear their pencils or their pens and the flipping of the pages, mentally, I start to deal with a lot of anxiety. I start to freak out, right? And so when that happens, all I'm focusing on is like, I don't want to be the last person to finish in my test, right? And so I'm just now literally going through the questions as fast as possible, not really focusing on them. And I would turn in my assignment and typically I would always fail. Like, that's just what happens. So what I learned to do, and I've learned to do this just in so many different seasons of my life. The same thing applies when I was doing MMA. The same thing applies back in the day with school. The same thing applies even now as a health and business coach, where it's like, okay, hey, when times are stressing me out, because let's face it, you're always going to go through stress. Nobody's perfect. Like, don't get suckered into, Instagram and Facebook and everybody's posting their highlight reels. Kid you not, right? Like, putting all that aside, behind closed doors, they're stressed out about something too. Everybody's stressed out about something, okay? It's just that, hey, we need to understand, right, how to lower that stress instantly. And before we talk about how we're going to do that, let's talk about the importance of that, okay? So for the guys that we coach, tell them all the time, hey, you could track your macros, crush it with the nutrition, track your progress with your workouts, crush it in the gym, drink plenty of water, all that stuff. But if you're underneath a lot of stress, okay, you're going to be spiking your cortisol levels, making it virtually impossible for you to lose body fat. Hormonally, that's just how it works. And if you got to think about it like this, all your hormones, right? Like it's a machine, it's a factory. They're all their employees at each different departments doing what they need to do to make that factory run smooth. So when there's a lot of stress, right, on your plate, think about that as the fire alarms going off. So all those different departments, all the different factory workers, they leave the building, right? The fire alarm's going off. So yes, the electricity is on. Yes, the machines are still going, right? Yes, there's still Wi-Fi, right? But nobody's actually working on the plant, because everybody's outside of the factory. I want you to think about that in terms of stress, okay? Stress could be so much. Like literally that would be a whole other podcast in a nutshell about all the different categories of stress. Stress could be environmental, where if let's say you're in a situation and there's peer pressure, or you're traveling and you haven't been to this area and now it's a whole different, community that you're used to or environment or whatever the case may be. It can be stressful that way. Stress could be an injury, right? Let's say you twist your ankle or hurt your knee or have a bad back, right? If you have excess body fat, right? There's a lot of stress on your body, right? Because if you think about it, your body's literally trying to cut off the fat, right? And burn through the fat. Obviously, that's not good for our health, right? At all. So there's going to be other problems, high blood pressure, stroke, type 2 diabetes, etc., right? So your body's trying to fix it, which means like hormonally, whatever you guys are going through, okay? Whether it's like an injury, whether it's travels, whether it's you being sick, whether it is just in your own head, right? And a worry, anxiety, stress, all that stuff. You're hurting yourself. You might not think about it from that perspective, right? Because you're like, oh, well, I'm not actually in pain. I'm not actually hurt. I'm just worried about this subject or worried about this obstacle that's in front of me. But no, I kid you not. Like from a hormonal perspective, your body's not at homeostasis, right? It's all out of alignment and your cortisol levels are spiked and you're hurting yourself, right? So that's why it's best to understand what can I do instantly to help me relieve that stress, but also boost your confidence. Because the confidence is what's going to give you the momentum and the encouragement to face that challenge on head first and overcome it. And this is all you need to do. I used to do this all the time back in the day with school. Used to do this all the time, literally with fighting, right, with my MMA career. And I still do this now. When I get stressed out with my son, my wife, me being a business owner, things just don't go my way. I still do this simple exercise. And it goes all the way back to, once again, the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, okay? We need to understand our bodies. We need to know how to control, right, our breathing and lower that stress instantly, right? So that way, once again, we're not in this, seeing nothing but red mentality and, we're pouring all this energy into this and things that are outside of our control and then we're, lost in the sauce. No, right? We got to gain control back. And how do we do that? We get to the present moment. So anytime there's worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, stress galore, the likelihood of that actually being in front of you right there at the present moment is slim to none. Now, there's obviously plenty of situations where, yes, there is a bear in front of you trying to eat you, right? And like, hey, you got to face it, right? Or you got to run. But in other situations, a lot of the stuff that's on our plate is in our heads, right? And it's not actually there in the present moment right there in front of us. So what we got to do is get out of our heads, right? We can't be focusing on the future because there's the fear, the doubt, the worry, like, hey, what if this happens, etc. Or the past because there's the regret and, this and etc. We got to get to the present moment. The only way you can ever get to the present moment is with breath work. I kid you not. Your life, you could be struggling to pay the bills right now. You could have broken your arm. You could have type 2 diabetes. You could be failing your classes, right? And you've just got a divorce. Whatever the worst thing possible is, you could be thinking about that right now, right? And your mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imaginary. right? So when you're thinking about all these different things and then you're getting the emotions, you're getting the negative energy, right? Like you're literally killing yourself once again. So if we understand that hey, we can be stressed out about something that has not yet happened yet because it's in the future, or something that's outside of our control, who's to say that we can't use the same simple thing to gain control back and to actually help us? And this is where you use this technique, right? It's a simple exercise. You focus on a breathwork technique. I'm going to share with you guys a box method because I think that's the easiest for anybody to understand. Okay? And breathwork, once again, hey, you have bills to pay. Hey, you just lost your job. Hey, you're going through a divorce. Hey, you're stressed out about this. You broke your arm, right? Your cat fell off a tree and broke its leg. Whatever the case may be, you're stressed out, okay? If you just close your eyes, okay? I'm going to do it right now. Close your eyes. And you focus on breathing, right? So the box technique is going to look like this. You're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, okay? And then you're going to breathe out through your mouth for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds. It's literally a box, right? Ain't rocket science here. So it's like you close your eyes, you breathe in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds. If you just did that for 3 minutes, instantly you're going to lower the stress, because it doesn't matter what's on your plate. Right here in the present moment, me sitting down on this chair, talking to this camera right now, by me closing my eyes, the only thing that I am focusing on is the nostrils, is the air, is my lungs, is my breath. That's it. That's it. Like, you're getting to literally the nitty gritty, putting all else aside, outside of your head. You're only focusing on that breath work. That's it. And when you do that, you are going to calm your nervous system so much. You're going to lower your stress levels instantly, right? And it's the simplest thing that you can do. It's one of my habits that I actually have inside of my coaching program for my account, right? It's called Iron Breathwork because it helps out tremendously. But now, how do we build more confidence? Because let's face it, it's like, okay, let's just say I'm worried about this, anxiety, it's in the future, etc., and I focus on doing this breath work for 3 minutes and I instantly feel better. I feel more empowered. It's like, okay, great. That's what we want. But remember, that doesn't take off, right, what's ahead of us. That doesn't avoid the challenge. That doesn't take care of anything. We're going to need to do something about that eventually when the time comes. Now, when the time comes, right, you want to make sure you got confidence. And this is what I personally like to do. Okay, so let's just say, I'll give you several different analogies just to help you out. Okay, let's just say it's going back to the math test, right? Not good at math, and it's just like, okay, hey, the teacher gave me that piece of paper. I got to take the test right here. I'm hearing the pencils. I'm hearing the pages flip. I'm getting worried. I'm rushing. I'm getting stressed out. Instantly go through that breathwork exercise. And then you just want to think about 3 things. That's it. 3 things from the past on how you overcame something. Right? Just to boost your confidence. So maybe in that analogy, I'm thinking about how I overcame a history test and I passed that. I'm thinking about how I, for one of my math quizzes, I passed. I'm thinking about something, right? Where it's like, I'm just gaining some little confidence. That's it. I'm not trying to move mountains here. I just need a little boost where it's like, hey, I'm getting to the present moment, right? Even though that paper is in front of me right now, hey, I'm getting collectively in the present moment with my thoughts, with my breathing, with my energy. And then, once again, I'm then going to utilize, right, thinking about just 3 things that has helped me in that situation to boost my confidence before I go right back to taking the test. Now, fast forward right after college, right, or should I say during the same time as college, I'm doing my MMA fights. So I have over 15 MMA fights, handful of boxing matches, kickboxing matches, jiu-jitsu tournament. I love fighting, right? It's a lot of fun. Now, I don't fight nowadays. I still like to train, though. Still like to do jiu-jitsu, still like to do boxing classes here and there. But for all of my fights, I've always felt nervous. Kid you not, always felt nervous. So what would I do, right? In the back, getting ready to walk out, right? And step in front of that cage, in front of all the people watching you, right? Where it's literally like you, a guy across that cage trying to kill you, and a referee, right? Scariest thing ever. Anyways, before walking out, you know what I would do? I would just close my eyes. I would focus on the breath, and I would just start thinking about myself like, okay, hey, Remember in this fight when you won this, right? You got that armbar. Hey, remember in this fight when you were down for the count, but you came back and got a knockout. Hey, remember this? And that boosts my confidence, right? That helps me mentally be prepared before I step into that octagon and fight, And it could be the same thing right now with maybe what you're dealing with, let's say stress of finances. You got all these bills to pay, right? Well, okay. Hey, the bills are right in front of you right now, okay? Just stop. Close your eyes. Focus on that breath work, okay? And then focus on hey, has there ever been any times where, you've ever missed a payment, or you ever they took your house away because you missed that payment or anything like that? Or have you always made a payment? I'm pretty sure you've always made a payment, right? Even if let's say you made a late payment, regardless, it's not like anything bad happened to you. So it's reminding yourself, right, as we just did our breathwork exercise and then going through those things in our head in terms of confidence that, hey, it's gonna be okay. And that's the biggest reminder that I have for you in this podcast episode. Whatever you're going through, it's okay, right? It's going to either make you be better, right? I'm a big believer. Everything is working out in my favor. Because even if it's a challenge, okay? Now, granted, it could be finances, it could be injury, it could be your health, whatever. Typically, challenges, it brings awareness to the situation. Hey, what do I need to be better on? What do I need to focus on, right? If I was somebody that just ate nothing but donuts all day long and I sat around and played video games all day long, I'm going to be really fat, right? I'm going to get out of shape. But maybe that doesn't do anything for me. There's not enough pain for me to actually want to make a difference and make a change in my health. But let's say I go to the doctors and the doctor's like, bro, you got type 2 diabetes. Your son, right, he might not have a dad if you continue this on for the next year. Then it gets pretty serious. So even though that was a hard thing, right, the diabetes and the challenges and being overweight, and I had to go through the struggles and eventually losing the weight, regardless, I'm blessed for that opportunity, for that challenge of being fat and getting type 2 diabetes because my doctor was able to help me bring awareness to the situation. And then I thought about, wow, my son's going to grow up without a father. I should probably make a change here. So I'm blessed because if that would have never happened with the doctor, I would have never made a change. And I would continue to be fat and eventually pass away from just dying of death of donuts. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's do a quick recap, okay? Worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, all these things that we don't like, well, they're going to come, right? Plain and simple. But instead of letting them come and just surround us, right, like a tsunami, like a tidal wave, let's actually do something with it, right? Let's be proactive. If we can bring in these, emotions, okay, from things of in the future and things of also from the past, why don't we just flip the switch? And we can do a simple breathwork exercise. I recommend a box breathing, 4 seconds in, hold, out, hold. And then just utilize, once we get into our calm state, think of some things in life that, hey, you were able to overcome some challenges. And it can help you boost your confidence. Okay? And then carry on. Utilize that, confidence that you just got for that challenge at hand, for the adversity. And then regardless, understand that what you're dealing right now is probably a blessing in disguise. Even though you can't see it yet, it realistically is. Steve Jobs said it best. You cannot connect the dots looking forward in life, but you can always connect the dots looking backwards in life. That's just how it is. So it's like, hey, be grateful for this opportunity because it might be something to actually make you better on the other end. Even though it sucks, you're going through the trenches right now. It doesn't feel the best. You're probably feeling like your world's collapsing right now. Trust me, you're going to be perfectly fine. With that being said, guys, this is Joe Callari with HeartAthletics.com, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.